Radio, nextdoorradio.com, and the Nextdoor Radio app. My name is Trace Knight. This is our part of our local coverage, Decision 2023. Miss Debbie Ramsey, she's candidate for Oxford Mayor, joins us here in the studio today. How are you today?
Hey, Trey, I'm good. How about you?
We are fantastic. We like to say we are living the dream here in Granville County. Hard to complain about anything, but real quick, let's really do a 30-second infomercial on who you are and what you're doing.
Okay, Debbie Ramsey, and I'm running for the mayor of Oxford. Um, I'm really excited about being the mayor. I'm working really hard. Um, Stop with the But I'm looking forward to Election Day, which is on November the 7th, and early voting starts October 19th.
So the true role, and again, every candidate has come on the program. I like to ask this question. We've asked it with you as well, but for those that are just tuning in for the very first time, when we say you're running for mayor, that title of mayor, what does that mean?
Well, it's there's no authority with that title. There's no voting. The Pretty much what the mayor does is she's the face of the city. She tries to communicate with the citizens and make sure they are knowledgeable about what the city is doing. Sometimes it's important that she or he asked a lot of questions about what's going on to get a better understanding of the facts so that she can tell the citizens the facts. So, and that's my plan, is to make sure that people are aware of what's happening.
Fantastic. Again, Debbie Ramsey joins us here for our local coverage here of Decision 2023 on Nextdoor Radio, nextdoorradio.com, the Nextdoor Radio app. If you missed this, you can tune in our video or audio today. We appreciate it. It's going to be up on our website at nextdoorradio.com under the local talk section if you missed this live today. So one of the things we're going to focus on today is really the fiscal responsibility. Talk a little bit more about that. And when I say that, what does that mean?
Well, Trey, I'm not an accountant. Yeah. I'm not a city manager, but I have looked at some of the fiscal responsibility issues that our city faces. Again, I can't explain all the ins and outs of it, but I do know that there is a city budget that has to be developed annually. There are different funding sources in the budget. We have a fund balance, which is that non-discretionary spending balance that is kind of like reserves or your savings account, and it's there for you to use as things come up during the year. Then there's a debt service, and that's all of the discretionary budgeting. It's like say for your own bank account. It's discretionary spending or for luxuries, vacations, whatever. The other spending, non-discretionary, is what you have to pay, like rents, groceries, gas, utility bills. So with an annual budget, they look at the spending that the city's required for public safety, water, all the general operating equipment stuff that they have to look at. So what's mainly important is that extra reserve fund stays at a level that we have funds to meet whatever comes up. I wanted to talk a little bit about what happened recently. The city board voted to decrease that non-discretionary spending by 40%. Basically, what I'm saying is they had this fund balance that was set for 8 months of spending. If something happened, we could have 8 months of spending. And so they decided to cut that by 40% down to 5 months of emergency spending. So that's like taking it out of your bank account, your savings account, and cutting the amount that you're spending. And that can be a good thing because you can use it for operating expenses, update the buildings and that type of thing. Or it can be a bad thing if you're not careful about what you're spending. So you can look at it both ways. What happened recently, though, is that they cut the discretion. This is the non-discretionary spending. They had budgeted for the recreation department for $800,000 for this budget year, and in June they voted for that. So 3 months later, on Tuesday, they voted to fund $250,000 for parking expansion at the city rec department, and then as well, they voted to spend $105,000 to blacktop the Granville Street basketball court. That's all fine and good, but it wasn't budgeted, and they're cutting into that, what they had already said was going to be the amount that they can spend down on. So I'm not sure why, you have a budget and then you're going to go outside of your budget at this point after you've said you're going to start spending. Spending is fine if you're spending it for things that I think that the city needs. If you're looking at updating our buildings, our police department building is just atrocious, and it's been that way for years. And we need to either look at building a new police department or really upgrading the current one. And that's been an issue for a long time. So I think it's time to look at those types of issues rather than spending it on what I see as luxury items. A lot of people would not think of recreation as a luxury item, but the city's basically responsible for safety and water and sewer. So that one other issue that I want to talk about along those lines is ARPA funds. And the ARPA was the American Rescue Plan Act. That is the money that came from COVID. And there's 2.8 million of that we still have. And so there's a lot of talk about we can use ARPA funds for this and that and the other. The laws changed a lot. Initially, it was for COVID response and that type of thing and paying salaries. And the laws have changed now, and you can actually sink that money into your regular fund balance.
Oh, okay.
And pay your salaries and those types of regular expenditures from that. One municipality locally actually took that money, sunk it into salaries in their regular fund, and then took that money to buy a fire truck, which was a great thing, So what I'm looking at is to make sure that we're spending on the right things. And I'm not so sure that taking out $250,000 that wasn't budgeted is a useful thing at this point.
So you look at it real quick, and I'll piggyback off what you said regarding taking it out of the budget or not budgeting it and then still spending. What effect does that have on something like this?
Well, I'm not sure where that money came from, if it was the ARPA money or where it came, or, if it wasn't funded in the budget, it had to come from somewhere other than the non-discretionary spending. So I'm not sure. But these are issues that I think we need to look at as taxpayers to make sure that money is being spent appropriately. With last year, they had severe staffing issues, and they bumped the salaries up a large amount of money, which that was good. It got candidates in, but now that is going to have to be budgeted every year. So you're looking at increased funds coming out of that regular budget every year now. So it's going to decrease your amount of spending. One other thing that I really wanted to talk about, so the water thing, back to the water and sewer, they borrowed $110 or got loans or grants or whatever, but it was $110 million. And now has increased to $120 million, and that was supposed to be over a 10-year period. So if you're looking at that increase, you're looking at inflation. And there's just so much. If you have an emergency in the city, a tornado, or these buildings that are dilapidated, you just need to look at other ways to spend your money wisely. The last thing I want to talk about is that the water fund is separate. You can't take anything about the water out of the general fund. So you're not going to be able to take it from the fund balance. If the number of houses that are supposed to be coming do not come to fruition, our water rates could double within the next 2 years. So there are a lot of issues that may require spending in the future. And I don't think, my opinion only is that we should not be spending frivolously, and again, recreation is a nice thing to have, but there are other needs, I believe. So that's it in a nutshell. And again, I'm not an accountant, and I stand to be corrected if I didn't say anything as it is, but I have done research, and I just feel it's really important. And as mayor, I will make sure that I ask all the right questions. And they may be hard questions, but I will ask and get the answers to that and make sure that taxpayers know what those are.
Fantastic. Debbie Rosa joins us here for our Decision 2023 and our local talk program here on Nextdoor Radio, nextdoorradio.com, the Nextdoor Radio app. Of course, we like to finish these programs with the last couple minutes of opening the floor of anything that we didn't discuss today.
Well, I just want to say to everyone that's watching, I want to be your mayor, and I would appreciate your vote. And I will make sure that you are aware at all times what's going on within the city, how the money's being spent, any policy changes. And I want to be a good mayor. I'm going to work hard.
Fantastic. Ms. Debbie, thank you so much. God bless you. Thanks for joining us here today for our local talk program. Okay.
Thanks a lot.
We'll see you next time. Again, my name is Trace Nine on behalf of our local talk, and this is Decision 2023 here on Nextdoor Radio, nextdoorradio.com, and the Nextdoor Radio app. We'll see you later.